We need to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here at 444 Spirit Way. Oh, turn!
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kelly Show.
Great, let's start the show.
We have a special activation of love tonight's show.
Yeah.
We have some special guests for everybody that I met several weeks ago at a film festival in Sedona, Arizona. And I was asked to go I was in a film there, but I was asked to go to a question and answer panel and did that. And met these lovely ladies there and saw their film. And it blew me away as the day. And they're incredible. And the movie was incredible. And it won the whole film festival. And I thought it was so incredible, their journey, that I thought we should invite them on the show tonight to share with you and everyone you know, because the movie is very, very touching. So I'd like to invite them in right now. So we have Dana, that's Krisanna right there. Sexton, hello.
Hi.
Dana.
Hi. Welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here today.
Yes, and Krisanna, you want to tell us your position and your part in the movie? I know so everyone knows, and then Dana can take it away from that point, I guess.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. It was truly special having you in the audience when we were able to screen the film at Illuminate, James. And yeah, so I'm the director and I've been a filmmaker since I was 16, and I've been creating a lot of content and just kind of doing my thing, and always wanted to create a feature film, but this is my first feature documentary. And really it follows the journey of my partner, Dana, and her struggle with chronic pain. And there's a lot of nuances to that story that we talk about in the film. But yeah, we just wanted to create some content that would help people have hope and really know that they are their own best healer, and the power of self-love and the healing power of self-love. Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell, as far as I'm concerned. And
how long did it take you to make the movie? When did you start the movie?
9 months.
9 months?
Yeah, we started, it's really fast. We started it in, gosh, what was it? March of 2020, Dana?
No, it was
April. No, 2021. Oh, geez. There we go. And yeah, we wanted to finish it by the end of the year because we felt, in light of COVID and everything people were going through with challenges in their health and such, that it was very timely to release it quickly. And also, it was really important to me to not have the ending of the film be contingent on whether or not Dana got out of pain. So that really helped us redefine our relationship with healing.
The ending was a blowaway ending, which I but for me, I was like, I just cried at the end because it was a shock, but the way it was done, like I said earlier to you, the way it was portrayed at the end was like another little like, oh wow, I never expected that little part of love. And Dana, tell us about your journey and how you got involved and what happened to you and so forth.
All right, so back in 2017. I was just exercising. I was on a treadmill and I pulled a muscle in my calf, and so began the journey. It should have been something that healed right away, but it turns out when you injure yourself and you're under an extreme amount of stress in your life and had so many things unprocessed. I had just gone through a really difficult breakup and had so much stress that it wasn't healing. And then my other leg started hurting, and then all of this time went by and I was going to all these doctors and physical therapy and just everything under the sun. And it just wasn't healing. And then eventually my back started to ache. They sent me for an MRI and they were like, oh my gosh, of course you have a herniated disc. That's the answer. It's radiating pain to your legs and your feet, the whole thing. And I thought, okay, well, I am not having surgery. I'm going to do everything I can to heal. So we tried so many things that were very painful. I would just come home from sessions in tears, Graston technique, dry needling, a thing that would zap me called the scrambler to rewire the pain circuits in my brain. Like I literally tried everything. And unfortunately, it was in March of 2020 where kind of we had an event in our lives that caused more stress and my body was just done. And this is on top of, 40 years of trauma and stuffing down things that I was just, trying to survive. And I wore as a badge of honor that I'm not an angry person and I don't express these things and that I'm always okay. And I wasn't okay. So long story short, at the same time that I was going through all of this, Krisanna started documenting my journey because she's like watching her partner suffer so badly and thinking, I don't know where this is going to lead. But she just picked up her camera and said, can I start filming? And she did. And during that time that things got really bad, I ended up having 2 unsuccessful spine surgeries in 2020, right when COVID started. It was one of the most difficult times of both of our lives. We were very isolated because at that time, everybody was afraid of each other. Right. So I was in the hospital alone, and then I came out and I had a spinal fluid leak that was very bad. And I went in 6 weeks later for emergency surgery. I ended up in ICU because it things didn't necessarily heal as quickly and as well as we were hoping. And I never thought I was coming out. I literally thought I was going to die in ICU alone. So after some time went by, Krisanna just kind of stopped doing, video production and film work to take care of me during COVID. And it turned out that there was somebody who requested her to meet with them for a potential film on healing.
Just happened.
Right. So I actually was well enough to drive to Sedona with her. And it was a founder of some mind-body practices in a retreat center in Sedona. And we were sitting there for the meeting, and the executive producer said, what is your story? And I was like, it's a long story. It's rough. I've been, going through this healing journey. And so in that, obviously, watching my journey and becoming the protagonist of this film just kind of unfolded very naturally in that moment. So we went through the story. I'm not going to give away all the details. Obviously, our film is available to watch right now between now and December 4th. So I want people to see it. But we took 18 people on the journey with us, and we immersed them in these practices. At
a retreat center, right? At a retreat center.
Absolutely. And so the stories that unfolded were beautiful. And like I said, I won't give you the punchline, but what I can say is that the definition of healing is different for everybody. And I think that this was one of the most, I call it brutal journeys of our entire life. So thank you so much for having us tonight.
Yeah. And Kelly, being a therapist, we deal with the show with a lot of trauma, right?
Yeah, right.
And unresolved trauma can result in
absolutely somatically, it goes in the body.
Right.
And so then if all of a sudden you think you have a little thing like a pulled muscle, it's a big thing because of all the somatic, all the trauma that would be stored in the body. Wow.
Did you have to forgive yourself, Dana? Did you find in your process of
good question?
I was curious. This hit my head. Like, would you going through that? Would you have to forgive yourself on some level or some time or?
So many levels, James. Yeah. Self-forgiveness ended up being one of the most critical components of my journey. And first of all, because I had so much guilt and shame for having surgery when I really felt like it was everything that I was against and I didn't want to do it. And I did it anyway. And then it went so badly. I was so much worse off. So I had to forgive myself for making that decision, essentially. I was very much told that's the only thing that can possibly help me. But there was something deeper inside of me that was like, this is probably not the right thing to do. But looking back, Love Heals wouldn't exist the way it does without my journey.
Right. You wouldn't be healing the world, right?
That's right. So I had to take one for the team for us to spread hope and healing to the world, and that's okay. Exactly. But the other thing is, and this was a much deeper one, and in being very vulnerable, I will say, I did have a lot of trauma throughout my life. I've had a lot of abuse and a lot of sexual abuse in my life that was started at a very young age. And I think there's something within me that needed to release myself of like, this had to have been my fault. I could have avoided this. I should have told somebody sooner. I really wrestled with that a lot throughout my life. So yeah, forgiving my sweet child self for not navigating that.
And having compassion for yourself.
Oh my gosh. Self-compassion and self-love and self-forgiveness literally is the most critical elements of moving into a place where your body feels like, we can heal. We are healing.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. If we allow ourselves, we're constantly healing in that space. And as abuse as children goes, there's a lot of, and there's a lot, by the way. That's unfortunately it's a common these days. But as a child, you're a child. We look to adults to tell us the right thing to do, and we think they know better, but they don't always. And it's a very vulnerable place to be as a child. I mean, it's just really
And
the worst.
Krisanna, what made you decide to follow your partner's pain like that? I mean, out of deep love? It's amazing to me that what
Yeah.
made you do that?
Question.
Oh, sometimes I think throughout my life, well, you two probably know this better than anyone, but throughout my life, I've had these like I'm compelled to do something and it doesn't quite make sense, but I can't shake it.
Yeah. Oh, I know that one real well.
Yes,
Yeah.
very intuitive. Right.
Yeah, and I actually I really struggled with the idea of even filming some of these very tender moments, because of course I wasn't filming the hardest stuff. That was like we were in it, the darkest stuff, we were in it. But yeah, I really wrestled with it, and anytime I would try to be like, oh, I don't know, I just couldn't. I felt like this is a have to, and at the end, there was some point where I said, even if it's just for us. Even if this is just like a marker of, okay, we've made progress, because look at where we were now 6 months later. Like I had to hope, but every day felt so long. Every day felt like it was getting darker. So I had to, I think it was just kind of like, okay, if I film some of this, then I'll at least be able to see there's been some change down the road.
How did you change throughout this process?
Oh, good question.
Oh my. I'm still changing. I would say the deepest thing that happened inside of me is that as Dana was, in like the most horrific pain and couldn't move, it just brought up all this stuff. And I started doing like really intense therapy, and we started seeing an intuitive. And as soon as Dana could actually leave the house, she was going as well and doing her own sessions. But I call it the dredging. It was like, okay, if potentially there is a way for Dana to get out of pain by addressing some of the stuff in her past, that I'm going to do it too, because it's bringing up a lot of my own triggers and a lot of my own codependency and stuff that's it's not healthy.
So you both had to be really vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
Would say
And I
it's-
think
shows
Dan, yeah, and just real quick, I was going to say the biggest thing for me was I had to start looking at how much I didn't love myself as I was toward the end of the creation of Love Heals. I had this awakening like 2 months from finishing, like, oh, I actually think I hate myself. I can't be a conduit of this message of love if I still have this block. And it's from programming and childhood. And I knew I was gay at a very young age. And I hated myself for it, so much so that I like married a man and did all these other things. And so, there's layers there that I was starting to have to address. And I wouldn't say I've arrived, but I definitely made some progress. And this love and appreciation for especially the young parts of me that went through that darkness, I guess.
Krisanna, I want to ask you a question which just came to my head. Was during the filming of this, were there sections where it got so overwhelming that you had to stop, and like through your own process of watching this, and your own process was so intense, I have to stop for just a little bit here and let me continue in a week or so and let me process? Did that come up a lot, or no?
So I didn't get the luxury of a week break, but because the editing window, I think it was like 2 months, and there was so much that I wasn't going to skip a minute. I was not going to take any shortcuts. So it was like 15-hour days a lot of times, but there were times where I'd hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
And so, it was my own resistance, even being in the film. I told Dana, I will not be in this film. I want people to watch it, and seeing a gay couple, they're not going to watch it. And that there was a major creative block that happened when I refused to be in the film. And then when I finally accepted this download I kept getting, then I made all these creative leaps. There were times that I would have to like take a minute and even just tell Dana about this story I was editing or this person's journey, because it was like I was feeling it with them. And there's 150 hours of content. So all that content that didn't make it into film, I still felt like I was feeling it with those different people.
Well,
Yeah.
I gotta say my hat is off to you because I mean I'm pretty skeptical about every movies and everything, but you can see, and I felt in your movie, you can see your journey, and you really lighten that movie up. You really see kind of your journey, and I don't want to ruin it for people, but at the very end, it's like, oh my gosh, and you can see your not only Dana's journey, but your journey. And I'm like, I told you you're both healers when I first met you, and you are that healing energy of both of you come together beautifully in the movie. So yeah, congratulations, really, for your first time out. And,
oh gosh, yes. James, should we watch the preview?
Yes, let's share a trailer with everybody. Perfect.
I'm Krisanna, and I'm a filmmaker. My partner Dana and I have been together 4 years, and throughout our relationship, Dana has suffered with chronic pain. After going from doctor to doctor, trying desperately to find answers, in 2020, she had 2 spine surgeries. When the spine surgeries failed to bring her relief, I began documenting her journey. I believed for a miracle and wanted to have a camera in hand when it happened. Then I was asked to create a documentary on healing to show how an ancient principle that's been known for 10,000 years was the secret to health. I wondered, how has this ancient principle helped so many heal? And can it help Dana too? And so began our journey.
스스로 자기의 건강은 자기가 지켜야 되고, 근데 그러한 그 각성이 됐다 해도 방법을 모르면 안 된다.
I know body can do miraculous things, but I just didn't know how to tap into it. I don't know what's missing in my life.
Why am I trying so hard? Why am I suffering so much?
I kept telling myself that I could do this on my own, but I can't. I need help.
I have nothing else. So I had to get to a place where I was ready to heal.
So pain is a signal of protection. And the question is, from what?
Illness and pain are symptoms that you're not living in harmony, and that you should be dealing with the symptom not as the problem, but as a message that says, do something else.
Go inside and then find that thing that you're looking for all your life.
All of a sudden I could walk. The pain left my body and I could walk just fine.
I've been in chronic pain for like 10 years, and this is the first time that I can remember not even thinking about my knee.
I know we have the answers here, and I know that we can heal ourselves. Now I believe it a little bit more.
This journey woke me up. In the deepest pain and the darkest days, it allowed me to access something within myself that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Wow. And that's just a teeny bit. Wow. It's powerful. It's powerful. Yeah. It's powerful.
Kyle Hodges asked a good question here, and we were just talking about this before we came on. She said, as a horse owner, I love the beautiful horse in the background. Dana, what does it symbolize to you? We were just talking about that.
Oh, wow. So I love this question. Thank you for asking. When I first put this on my wall, what it symbolized was freedom. And the reason I put it up is because I finally broke the chains of some serious people pleasing and codependency. I was in a very misaligned relationship for about 6 years. And I didn't see it. I didn't see that I was giving so much of myself that I left feeling I was just empty. I was like a shell of a human. And I knew that I had so much to give. And when I finally had the strength to stop living out of alignment, and I've loved horses my entire life. I've done a lot of volunteer work in the equine therapy settings. And so what it symbolized to me was me stepping into my power, me breaking codependency, me having the freedom that I needed and deserved, whether I was with someone or not. Krisanna's, our production company is called Live Wild Films, because I believe, like Atticus, the poem, love her, but leave her wild. We all deserve to be free and authentic to who we really, truly are. So that's one. And the other thing is, Krisanna and I are just launching production on our next film, and it's going to be about the healing power of horses. And there's so much there. So thank you for asking.
Well, you had to be very brave, because to be authentic, you risk being abandoned. So you have to be really brave. And what you did, and what you two did together here is brave.
Yeah, it is. It's a bravery. And how's been the reaction of the film you can share with everybody? I know you won the Sedona, the Illuminate Film Festival. And tell us about other film festivals you entered and are going to enter.
Krisanna, do you want me to take this one, or do you
that's your wheelhouse.
Yeah. So first, let me address what you asked, James, about the reaction of the film. I will tell you that in the last few weeks of Krisanna's editing, I would literally find her on her office floor, like in a puddle of tears, because she was so afraid of what the reaction was going to be. And not only that, the overwhelm of editing and trying to figure out how to put this incredible story together so that it could be received the way it needed to be. And I will tell you that our response to this film has been nothing short of miraculous. We would hear from people all over the world about how watching our film gave them more hope and potential tools and guidance for healing than maybe anything else they've ever seen. So that in and of itself, to hear from real humans on the other side of the screen, having these responses to our film and to the blood, sweat, and tears that went into creating Love Heals was, I mean, even Krisanna always told me, if it helps one person on their journey, one person, it's all worth it. Well, now it's helping countless people. We've definitely entered film festivals. We've won 3 official selection awards so far. And then we won the Illuminate Film Festival, which means, I mean, out of all of the films in the entire festival, this one was selected by the audience as their favorite film. So that was a really big deal. And
you had some contenders, some tough contenders, let me tell you.
Bill, you were in.
No, but really, I was so happy. I mean, yeah, you deserve to win, really.
Yeah.
And there'll be more too. You enter more, you'll win more.
And didn't you talked about earlier about Israel? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we actually were accepted. We had an official selection award for the film festival in Israel. And it was interesting because they were interested in the film and they said, I'm sorry, we don't have the ability to show it at, it's called the Spirit Film Festival, unless you get Hebrew subtitles. And we were like, oh my gosh, we have to work tirelessly. We have to get this in Hebrew. So we did it. We spent the money and found the right person and got it in Hebrew. And they just showed the film this last weekend, a few days ago. And they said that the response was just off the charts. Wow. So they had about 100 people see the film. And now they want to come up with an arrangement with us to show it for several weeks in a virtual screening setting to really spread hope and healing to the people in Israel. So it's really touching.
Wow. And just so you know, Germany and is very big. Berlin Film Festival, very big. And Germans are actually very open now to this way of thinking, as is the UK, of course. So I don't know the film festival world, but UK and Germany would be good. And South America would be great. Latin America is great. And of course, Australia. Our friends are in Australia. They're very open-minded to all this. So the time has come to, yeah. And, also the thought I had in my head as you were talking earlier was, you also give permission in that little part of the head to heal, to allow yourself to heal. That little switch goes off. I'm worthy of it. That's okay. I can do this. Love is the answer, as we all know.
And your timing on this is really auspicious. It's really perfect because we're in a healing time in the world. We're in a healing time for each of us to do our own inner work for healing. And the film, I think, is really going to open many doors for many people. It's perfect time for this. I know astrologically how tough it would have been during March and in 2021. It would have been rough. But the fact that you knew and you followed that instinct, you knew you had to do it, and then you just followed it and just kept going and just keep going. This has so many legs and wings, and this will really help so many people here.
So I love you all. I love you
all. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kelly White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.